Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into a world beneath our feet and, well, above our heads that is far more complex, social, and, frankly, intelligent than most of us ever imagine.
That's right.
We're embarking on a deep dive into the astonishing discoveries outlined in Peter Wohllebin's acclaimed book, The Hidden Life of Trees, blending his insights with some really groundbreaking scientific research.
It's fascinating stuff.
Our mission today is to sort of peel back the bark, both literally and figuratively explore the surprising ways trees communicate, how they care for each other, adapt.
It's a whole hidden world.
Exactly. We're going to uncover a secret life that genuinely challenges our basic assumptions about nature. Get ready, because you might reconsider everything you thought you knew about your local forest.
It's a remarkable journey, really, because these insights, they shift our perspective from seeing trees as just, passive things, commodities,
Lumber.
to recognizing them as these integral, interconnected beings, part of a profoundly complex ecosystem. You might just find your next walk in the park feels, well, entirely different.
I certainly think so. And to kick us off, let's explore an idea that completely reframes how we see trees. They aren't isolated individuals. They are profoundly social. They form communities, actively supporting each other.
It's fundamental to understanding them.
Wohlleben recounts this truly incredible anecdote, discovering a centuries-old barkless tree stump still very much alive.
Yeah, I remember reading that.
Nourished with sugar by the surrounding beech trees. It had no leaves for photosynthesis, yet it survived for hundreds of years. I mean, how is that even possible?
Well, that stump, it's such a powerful illustration of these hidden networks, isn't it? And a crucial part of the answer comes from Dr. Suzanne Simard's research. Really groundbreaking stuff.
Oh, right. She coined the term.
The wood wide web, exactly. It describes this vast underground network of soil fungi, specifically the thread-like structures, mycelium. You can really think of these fungal networks almost like the forest's fiber optic internet cables.
Wow. So it's not just a poetic analogy, it's a literal biological network.
Pretty much, yeah.
And these fungal connections, they go beyond just single trees, linking different species.
That's the key. They link different species of vegetation, allowing for this massive exchange of information and resources.
Yeah.
Goods, basically.
Information and goods.
Exactly. These fungi, they don't really discriminate. They connect the roots of various tree species, even ones we might think of as competitors.
Uh-huh.
And this facilitates a really sophisticated exchange of nutrients. Now, it's not a free service.
There's a catch.
Well, yeah. These fungi demand, sometimes up to a third of a tree's food production, sugars, carbohydrates, in return for their services.
A third. That sounds steep.
It can be, but services are incredible. Filtering heavy metals, providing, let's call it medical assistance against bacteria or harmful fungi.
Medical assistance.
Yeah, fighting off pathogens. And in really desperate situations, say, if nitrogen is scarce, they can even release deadly toxins to break down tiny organisms to get nitrogen, which benefits both the fungi and the trees.
So it's a complex relationship, mostly symbiotic, but with potential costs.
It's a delicate balance, absolutely. If a tree is severely stressed, maybe during a long drought, a fungal partner might take a larger share, making the tree more vulnerable. But usually, the benefits protection, nutrient access, even communication, they far outweigh the costs, especially when a tree's survival often depends on its community.
You mentioned communication again. Beyond just swapping nutrients, how exactly do trees talk? Through this wood wide web, or maybe through the air?
They use multiple methods. One really intriguing discovery is their use of electrical impulses. They transmit them through their roots.
Electrical signals, like nerves.
Sort of, but incredibly slow by our standards. About a third of an inch per second. More like a jellyfish or a worm's nervous system.
Wow.
But it's an active form of communication, the kind of slow-motion telegraph running through the tree.
A biological telegraph. I like that. But they also use scent and taste, right? The book gives that amazing example from Africa.
Indeed. African acacia trees. When giraffes start munching on them, they release ethylene gas into the air.
Okay.
This gas acts as an airborne warning signal. It alerts neighboring acacia trees to the threat.
So the other trees literally smell trouble coming.
Exactly. They smell the gas, and here's the clever part. They start producing toxic chemicals before the giraffe even gets to them, preemptively.
That is astonishing, a targeted defense.
Very specific. And it's not just a general alarm. They can get even more specific.
How so? Can they identify particular pests?
Get this. They can actually taste insect saliva.
No way.
Yes. By doing that, they can identify the specific pest attacking them. And then they release specific pheromones, those airborne chemical signals again,
Right.
that specifically attract that pest's natural predators.
So they call for backup.
Precisely. Elms and pines, for instance, can summon tiny parasitic wasps. These wasps lay their eggs inside the leaf-eating caterpillars attacking the tree.
Turning the caterpillars into living incubators.
Brutal, isn't it? But highly effective. A very targeted defense strategy.
Okay, so with all these sophisticated ways to talk electrical signals, airborne warnings, calling in predators, it's clear this isn't just random noise. What's the fundamental benefit? Why live in this complex community?
That's a vital question. Fundamentally, a single tree is just far more vulnerable. Alone, it struggles against wind, extreme temperatures, drought.
Makes sense.
But together, these community networks provide collective defense against pests and diseases. And critically, they create a stable microclimate.
Ah, right. Controlling their local environment.
Exactly. Lots of trees together moderate the extremes of heat and cold. They store significant amounts of water, generate high humidity. It's this protected environment that allows individual trees to live for potentially hundreds, even thousands of years.
So the community is essential for that long life.
It reinforces the idea that the community must remain intact for individual well-being.
It's incredible to think about trees communicating across the forest. But if they're doing all this, what does that imply about their internal world? Do they have senses, maybe even a form of intelligence we're only just beginning to grasp? Especially given their time scale. You mentioned that spruce in Sweden, over 9,500 years old.
It completely shifts our perception, doesn't it? This vast difference in timescales means trees have developed a sense of time that's just far beyond our immediate grasp.
How does that manifest?
Well, take leafing out and shedding leaves. They have a precise internal clock for that. They count warm days. Fruit trees are particularly good at this, and they actually require freezing temperatures for a restorative sleep, a sort of biological reset.
So they need winter to rest properly.
Yes. And what's interesting is the colder the winter, the earlier they tend to unfurl their leaves in the spring. They've measured the cold and adjusted their timing.
That's precise, and this timing extends to reproduction too, right? The mast years.
Yes, exactly. Deciduous trees, like beeches and oaks, they strategically agree, somehow, to bloom simultaneously only every, say, 3 to 5 years.
It's not random.
Not at all. It's a coordinated effort. The goal is to overwhelm seed predators, wild boar, deer, squirrels. By flooding the forest floor with nuts only periodically, they ensure some seeds survive. The predators just can't eat everything at once.
A long-term survival strategy for the whole species? That's remarkably clever.
It really is. Evolution over immense timescales.
But wait, if they're all releasing pollen at once, how do they avoid, well, inbreeding? Doesn't that weaken the species?
Ah, good point. They have several ingenious methods for that, too.
Like what?
Spruce, for example, stagger the opening of their male and female blossoms by a few days. So the female flowers are receptive when pollen from other spruce trees is more likely floating around.
Clever timing.
And bird cherries, they have male and female parts in the same blossom and rely on insects. They genetically test the pollen that lands on their stigma.
They test it.
If the pollen's genetic makeup matches the tree's own, it actually blocks the pollen tube from growing. It prevents self-fertilization.
Wow.
Willows use visual cues. The male catkins are bright yellow, attracting bees first. The bees get covered in pollen, then move on to the less conspicuous greenish female flowers, ensuring cross-pollination.
Okay, given all this communication, strategy, timing, it really pushes the question, can trees learn? Do they have memory? Wolobin mentions tree school. What's that about?
They certainly appear to learn from experience. Trees learn stability. They strengthen their trunks and roots in response to the micro-tears caused by wind pushing them around.
Like building muscle?
Kind of, yeah. And if a supportive neighbor tree falls down, it takes the remaining tree maybe 3 to 10 years to adjust its structure and stand firm again on its own. It's effectively relearning its balance.
That takes time.
And then there's Dr. Monica Gagliano's work with mimosas. Really fascinating.
The ones that react to touch.
Those are the ones. She showed they could learn to ignore a stimulus that wasn't actually harmful, like being repeatedly dropped a short distance or having water droplets fall on them. They learned it wasn't a threat.
Okay.
And they remembered this for weeks, suggesting a form of memory, even without a brain like ours.
If they learn and remember, where's the information stored? This leads to that controversial idea, the root-brain hypothesis.
Exactly. František Belušić and his colleagues, they proposed that there might be brain-like structures at the very tips of the roots, processing stimuli, guiding growth.
Brain-like structures.
Well, processing centers, it's still debated, of course. But think about that 9,550-year-old spruce. The roots are the most permanent part, maybe storing centuries of experience. As Wolobin puts it, it really challenges our definition of intelligence.
And if they can learn, taste, smell, send signals, what about sound? Can trees hear or even speak?
Dr. Galeano's research touches on this too. Her team detected roots quietly crackling at a specific frequency, 220 hertz.
Crack.
Yes. And astonishingly, the roots of other nearby seedlings actually oriented their tips towards these sounds.
They moved towards the sound, implying they could hear it.
It implies they can perceive these vibrations, yes. Which leads Volobin to provocatively suggest they might even scream out a dire warning when they're desperately thirsty. A silent scream at a frequency we can't perceive.
That's a profound thought. A silent scream in the forest. Okay, let's shift slightly. Life isn't always easy, even with the Wood Wide Web. What about the struggles? The costs? You mentioned the tree lottery with mast years.
Right, the mast years. While it's great for reproduction long term, it depletes a tree's energy reserves massively in the short term. They put everything into making seeds.
Leaving them vulnerable.
Exactly. After a mast year, beeches, for example, can be so weakened they become highly susceptible to pests like the beech leaf mining weevil. It can severely damage their foliage because they just don't have the energy reserves to fight back effectively.
So a successful reproductive year could actually be dangerous for the individual tree.
For healthy trees, it's usually okay they recover. But for ones already struggling, it can unfortunately be a death knell, a high-stakes gamble.
But there's also that strategy for young trees, the pedagogical method, forcing slow growth.
Yes, the mother tree is actively shading their offspring, allowing only about 3% of sunlight to reach the forest floor.
Seems harsh.
It might seem counterintuitive, yeah.
Yeah.
But it forces the young trees to grow incredibly slowly. This results in tiny, dense, woody cells.
Making them stronger.
Much stronger. These slow-growing young trees are incredibly flexible and highly resistant to storms and fungi, much more so than fast-growing trees you might see in open areas. It's like a natural schooling in resilience, a long-term investment by the parent tree.
And beyond communication, trees have some direct defense mechanisms too, right? Like chemicals.
Oh, definitely. Oaks, for instance, produce bitter, toxic tannins in their bark and leaves. These compounds deter insects from chewing on them.
Tannins, like in wine.
Similar kind of compound, yes. Willows produce salicylic acid, chemically similar to aspirin, which also acts as a defense.
Aspirin.
Wow. And conifers release compounds called phytoncides. These are volatile organic compounds. Some have antibiotic and germ-killing properties. They essentially disinfect the air around them and repel insects.
It's clear there's so much going on above ground, but you mentioned earlier that a huge amount of the action, maybe the real engine of the forest, is unseen, underground, the realm of darkness, the soil.
It's something that truly stands out, isn't it? Up to half of a forest's total biomass can be underground. Roots, fungi, bacteria.
Half. That's staggering.
It is, and it's this complex, bustling ecosystem. Microscopic creatures, beetle mites, springtails, weevils, plus fungi, bacteria, all essential for breaking down dead material, cycling nutrients. A single teaspoon of healthy forest soil can contain miles of fungal filaments.
Miles in a teaspoon.
It's incredible density. These tiny organisms are far more critical to the forest's long-term health than many of the larger animals we usually focus on.
And human impact on the soil ecosystem can have really lasting consequences.
Absolutely. Studies, like those done on the Lüneburg Heath in Germany, where forests were cleared centuries ago, show that even when replanted, it can take well over a century for the full soil biodiversity and nutrient cycles to recover.
100 years.
Commercial planting, especially monocultures, like rows of the same species, often depletes the soil and makes the whole system much less resilient, especially to things like drought or disease.
So forests aren't just passive backdrops. They actively engineer their own environment, especially the local climate. You mentioned they sweat.
Yeah, through transpiration. They release huge amounts of water vapor from their leaves. This cools the air, just like sweating cools us. It reduces the evaporation from the ground and creates a more humid microclimate. A single large beech tree can release over 100 gallons of water a day.
Wow. And a whole forest.
Creates a significantly cooler, moister environment than surrounding open land. something single trees just couldn't achieve.
And their role in managing water is also huge, isn't it?
Profound. The forest floor, the leaf litter, the humus, the root systems, the fungal networks acts like a massive sponge.
Soaking up rain.
Exactly. It absorbs rainfall, slows runoff, and allows water to seep gently into the ground, recharging groundwater, feeding streams and springs slowly and steadily. This also stabilizes water temperatures, which is crucial for aquatic life.
And even animals contribute, like beavers.
Yeah, beavers are amazing ecosystem engineers too. By building dams and creating ponds, they slow water flow even more, store water, and regulate supplies, further enhancing the forest's water management capabilities.
Connecting this to the bigger picture then, forests, maybe certain types like conifers, can influence global climate too.
Yes, that's another fascinating layer. Conifers release terpenes, those aromatic organic compounds that give pine forests their smell.
Right.
When these terpenes get into the atmosphere, they act as nuclei for water vapor to condense around. This helps form thicker clouds,
Thicker clouds.
which are better at reflecting sunlight back into space. It's estimated this effect can cool the environment by reflecting maybe 5% more sunlight away from the ground. It's a potential natural mechanism helping to regulate temperature on a much larger scale.
This brings us to a really interesting contrast Holben highlights. Undisturbed old-growth forests versus managed plantations. Intuitively, you might think management is better, but often it seems the opposite is true.
That's often the case, yes. Old-growth forests, the ones left largely to their own devices, are incredibly stable and resilient. They suffer significantly less damage from storms compared to commercial plantations, especially those monocultures of, say, spruce trees, all planted in neat rows.
Why is that? The diversity, the structure.
All of that, the mix of species, the different ages of trees, the complex root systems, the healthier soil, it all creates a much more robust structure. And what's particularly striking is the importance of death in a natural forest.
The value of death. Sounds counterintuitive.
But dead trees aren't waste. They are crucial. They act as midwives for new forests. Decaying logs become nurse logs, perfect moist seedbeds for species like spruce.
Ah, I've seen that. Little trees growing right out of a fallen log.
Exactly. Deadwood also stores huge amounts of water, like a sponge. Standing dead trees and fallen logs create natural barriers that can protect young seedlings from browsing deer. And of course, they provide critical habitats for thousands of species fungi, insects like stag beetles or hermit beetles that might live for decades inside one rotting tree, birds, small mammals. It's a whole cycle of life that depends on decay.
A cycle that's often broken in managed forests where deadwood is removed.
Precisely, leading to a less diverse, less resilient ecosystem.
Okay, so after exploring all these layers, the social networks, the communication, the senses, intelligence, the environmental engineering, the importance of natural cycles, what does this all mean for us? Walben really challenges us to see trees as more than just a commodity.
Exactly. And it raises a really important ethical question, doesn't it? If we're increasingly recognizing the complex inner lives of animals and extending them more consideration, maybe even rights,
Right.
shouldn't we afford trees more respect too? Given their social needs, their ability to learn, their intricate interactions over centuries.
So it's about changing our perspective.
It is. The book argues strongly for moving towards forestry practices like continuous cover forests, where you have trees of different ages growing together, mimicking natural processes, where logging is selective, and where at least some trees are allowed to grow truly old and die naturally, contributing back to the ecosystem.
Recognizing their inherent value, not just their value to us as timber.
That's the core of it, recognizing their intrinsic worth as living, complex beings.
We've certainly journeyed through a secret world today. A world of interconnectedness, silent communication, this slow motion drama unfolding all around us. Trees are not just static wood. They're living, breathing, sensing, and profoundly social beings.
It's a lot to take in.
It really is. For me, the true aha moment, I think, is realizing that the sounds we hear, the rustling leaves, the creaking branches, things we usually dismiss as just wind, they might actually be part of a vibrant, unseen conversation, or maybe even those cries for help you mentioned.
Changes how you listen, doesn't it?
Completely. It fosters a deeper sense of presence, maybe connection when you're out there.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a provocative thought for you, the listener, to ponder. If trees possess such intricate senses and social structures, operating on these vastly different timescales, what other languages are the plants around us speaking that we just haven't learned to understand yet?
What else are we missing?
Exactly. What secrets might your own local park, your backyard, or the forest down the road, beholding, just waiting for a deeper look.
Makes you wonder.
So the next time you walk among trees, maybe consider that hidden life buzzing beneath your feet and inside the bark. Listen not just with your ears, but, with your imagination too. You might just feel a deeper connection to this incredible natural world. And maybe, just maybe, you'll pick up on a whispered conversation that was always there, just waiting for you to truly listen.